Your salary is $128,000. His is $84,000. He has not asked in 3 years. The laptop is open on the kitchen island, casting a pale, cold square of light across the dark wood. The balance on the screen is $46,000. You are drinking black coffee from a ceramic mug that is slightly chipped at the rim. Staring at the number, you do not look at this balance with joy. You do not look at it with pride. You look at it the way a person looks at a heavy piece of furniture they have dragged in front of a door in the middle of the night. It is there. It serves a purpose. It cannot be easily moved back. The number on the screen is a border wall. It is a boundary you drew between your competence and his comfort. The house is perfectly quiet. You close the laptop just as you hear his footsteps on the stairs. You are 31. You are a woman who makes more money than the man she married. You did not plan this. You did not set out to build a quiet, sovereign kingdom of your own inside the marriage. It happened slowly, the way all permanent things happen. A promotion you downplayed over dinner, a bonus you mentioned in passing, but halved the amount when you finally spoke the number out loud. A structural, undeniable shift in your industry that rewarded the quiet, methodical competence you possess. While his career stalled in middle management, you are doing this. You have not told anyone. You have not told your mother, who would warn you about the fragility of men, passing down her own anxieties disguised as wisdom. You have not told your friends, who would cheer for you over wine, missing the point entirely. The silence is the story, not the gap. It is not about hiding money. It has never been about the money. It is about the preservation of the morning routine. It is about the easy laughter over Sunday dinner. It is about the delicate, invisible architecture of a man's pride that you have decided it is far easier to quietly underwrite than to violently dismantle. You are hiding your ambition. You are subsidizing the illusion of parity. You nod when he talks about how expensive the groceries have become, agreeing that the budget is tight, even though your checking account could absorb the cost of 100 grocery runs without a second thought. You apologize to him when you have to work late, framing it as a burden placed upon you by your boss, rather than a choice you are making to advance a career you are exceptionally good at. You have created 2 ledgers, one for the bank, one for the peace of the house. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from shrinking yourself to fit inside a room you have already outgrown. It does not feel heavy at first. It feels like an act of love. It feels like grace. You tell yourself that money is just math, and math should not dictate the emotional weather of your home. You tell yourself that by keeping the truth contained in a separate, quiet account, you are protecting the foundation of the life you built together. But money is never just math. It is energy. It is potential. And when you trap it in silence, it begins to alter the air pressure of the room. The rule, the first one, is this. The loudest thing in a room is always the money no one is talking about. //pause //. You can hide the statements. You can route the direct deposits through a labyrinth of paperless routing numbers. You can change your password, but you cannot hide the subtle, physical shift in how you carry yourself when you know you no longer need the person sitting across from you for survival. The independence leaks out in other ways, in the boundaries you suddenly set, in the arguments you no longer engage in, because you have mentally bought your way out of the anxiety that drives them. He feels it. He does not know what it is, but he feels the floorboards shifting. She is 31. The first massive bonus clears into the primary checking account by accident. The payroll department missed her email about the routing change. The number hits the joint account on a Thursday morning. She sees it on her phone while standing on a train platform. Panic, sharp and cold, blooms in her chest. She does not feel wealthy. She feels caught. She immediately transfers $18,000 out to a new, unconnected brokerage account before he wakes up. That evening, they order takeout. He pays with the joint card. He checks the balance on his phone while waiting for the food. He mentions that her check must have hit, noting a modest bump. She nods. She takes a bite of her food. She looks at him and smiles, her heart beating a steady, heavy rhythm against her ribs. She has successfully managed his reality. She has preserved the peace. But as she looks at him across the table, she realizes she is no longer his partner. She is his manager. She is curating his experience of their life. And then, she is 33. The account has grown. The quiet, consistent injections of capital have met the steady rhythm of compounding interest. The balance is $62,000. It is time to replace his car. He is stressed. He sits at the dining table with a legal pad, writing down monthly expenses, running the numbers on a used sedan. He is frustrated. He feels he should be further along. He looks at her, his face lined with the specific fatigue of a man who feels he is failing to provide the life he promised. He says they will have to cut back on vacations this year to make the down payment. He says he is sorry. She sits across from him. She knows she could reach into the hidden account, pull out $25,000 in cash, and buy the car outright tomorrow. She could erase his anxiety in a single keystroke. She opens her mouth to tell him. She watches the tension in his shoulders, but she stops. If she tells him, she solves the car. But she introduces a crisis of identity. If she tells him, she must also tell him that for 2 years, she has allowed him to stress over utility bills while sitting on a pile of capital. The revelation of the money would be a betrayal of the partnership. She chooses the lie over the car. She reaches across the table, covers his hand with hers, and tells him they will figure it out together. She tells him it is okay to cut back on vacations. She watches him breathe a sigh of relief, comforted by her solidarity. She feels entirely alone. And then, she is 35. Her salary is now $160,000. His is $88,000. The gap is no longer a temporary fluctuation. It is the permanent architecture of their careers. They are planning a trip to Europe. It is a milestone anniversary. He wants to pay for the flights. He insists on it. He wants to feel that he is treating her, that he is the steward of their celebration. She knows the flights will drain his personal savings. She knows it will take him 6 months to recover financially. But she also knows that if she pays for them, or if she suggests upgrading their seats with her money, she will strip him of the dignity of giving. So she lets him pay, but quietly. Invisibly, she logs into the joint account and shifts money from her personal checking to cover the mortgage that month, leaving his money free. She subsidizes his ability to treat her. She engineers a scenario where he can feel like a provider, using her own capital to construct the stage upon which he performs his role. They go to Europe. They drink wine on a terrace overlooking a river. He toasts to their life. He is happy. He is proud. She smiles, raising her glass. She loves him. She truly does. But she is looking at him through a pane of thick, soundproof glass. And then, she is 38. The hidden brokerage account crosses $150,000. It is a second gravity in the house. It exerts a pull on everything, even though it is invisible. He comes home from work one evening, defeated. He was passed over for a promotion he had been chasing for 4 years. He sits on the sofa in his coat, staring at the floor. He says he feels trapped. He says he wishes he could quit, take 6 months off, and figure out what he actually wants to do with his life. But, he says with a bitter laugh, they need his income. They can't afford it. She is standing in the doorway. She looks at the man she loves. The truth is right there, hovering in the space between them. They can afford it. They have been able to afford it for years. She could tell him to quit tomorrow. She could give him the freedom he is begging for, but she realizes, with a cold, terrifying clarity, that the silence has gone on too long. The lie has calcified. If she tells him now, it will not be a gift of freedom. It will be an absolute humiliation. It will be the final proof that his struggle was unnecessary, that his sacrifices were a pantomime she allowed him to perform for her own comfort. She walks over, sits next to him, and puts her arm around his shoulders. She says nothing. She lets him remain trapped, because the key she holds would burn the house down. There is a profound misunderstanding about what money is supposed to buy you. We are taught that capital buys freedom. We are taught that it buys options. We are taught that a woman with her own money is a woman who can walk away from anything she chooses. But what they do not tell you is that when capital is built in the dark, it does not buy freedom. It buys isolation. What it cost was not money. It cost distance. I have seen this. I built this exact wall at 33, brick by silent brick. I told no one for 2 years. I watched the numbers on the screen grow in the early hours of the morning, while the emotional distance across the dining room table grew in exact proportion with them. You think you are protecting him. You think you are being kind. You tell yourself that men are conditioned by society to measure their worth by their output, and it is not his fault that he cannot handle being eclipsed. You view your silence as an act of maternal grace. But you are not his mother. You are his wife. And by deciding what he can and cannot handle, by managing his reality to protect his ego, you have stopped being his equal. You have appointed yourself the silent patron of the household. The weight of this is not the guilt of hiding the money. The weight is the unbearable loneliness of knowing that the person sleeping next to you does not know who you actually are. He knows a curated, diminished version of you. He knows a woman who worries about the grocery bill. He does not know the woman who commands a 6-figure premium in the marketplace. He does not know the woman who possesses the quiet, terrifying discipline to amass wealth in secret. You have successfully protected his pride, and it has only cost you your authentic presence in your own marriage. Eventually, the hidden money stops feeling like a safety net and starts feeling like an anchor. It becomes a ghost in the house. Every time he stresses over a bill, the ghost is there. Every time he talks about his anxieties for the future, the ghost is there. You cannot fix it by simply transferring the funds. The money is no longer the issue. The issue is the asymmetry of reality. You are living in a world of abundance, and you are forcing him to live in a world of scarcity, simply because you are afraid of how he will react to the light. You will not believe this yet. That is fine, but the silence cannot hold forever. Eventually, the resentment will crack the foundation, or the sheer logistical weight of managing 2 realities will exhaust you into a confession. The rule, the last one, is this: you cannot compound a secret without compounding the space it occupies. // pause // Every dollar you hide to protect his ego requires a square inch of emotional distance to maintain. Over time, the money grows, and the space grows, until you are living in a mansion of secrets, sleeping next to a man who believes you are both still living in a 1-bedroom apartment. You are 40 now. The laptop is open on the kitchen island. The screen glows in the pale morning light. The balance is no longer $46,000. It is a number that guarantees you will never have to ask anyone for permission again. You hear his footsteps on the stairs. He is awake. He is coming down to start the coffee. He is coming down to step into the life he believes you share. You look at the screen. You look at the stairs. You do not close the laptop. If this found you at the right time, you know what to do.